Welcome, everyone, to the official debate section.
This debate is being conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Cleveland Clinic.
Everyone, hello and welcome to this episode of Incendiary. We've been away for a couple of weeks. Glad to be back. It was all my fault that we were gone. I went traveling in the mountains of South Carolina. It was glorious to get away and unplug and just sort of hike the mountains and see the waterfalls, et cetera, et cetera. It was tough to come back. I got to be honest with you, but you know, life goes on. I got to help pay the bills. So here we are. And, you know, again, glad to be back to the show because, you know, our guest this week is Von Klaus, always a great guest and great to talk to about comics, about comic related topics, just about anything. He's fun to talk to. So we're really glad you're here, Von. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good times.
Yeah, you bet. Uh-oh, don't robot on us.
No. Let me know.
It was so great in the green room.
Yeah, right.
At least it's
Jake,
not my audio this time. Say it again.
How have you been these last couple of weeks?
Oh, I've been doing good, man. The lady and I, along with the youngling, we just entered into a new apartment complex this week. So still unboxing everything. So I'm doing this from the living room instead of my office. But I'm feeling saucy, man. Let's do it.
All right. Fanta, how have you been?
I've been doing very well, thank you. Been on different panels everywhere, dropping videos all the time. I actually did one for Psycho Killers. Yay!
Saw that. Thank you for that, by the way. Sure.
You're very welcome. But yeah, that's my life. YouTube.
So, you know, I've got to do this because Fanta's here.
You know, there's never been a female on the debating team, ever.
Yes, sir, I know that.
What makes you think you should be the first?
What makes you? Not just kidding. And then we officially have Peter Orchard Studios with us this week. He was with us last week, but we couldn't hear a thing. I think he's here for real this time.
Yeah, I'm actually here for real this time. I got everything up and running, and I'm not just hiding out in the chat.
Awesome. glad you're here, sir. Okay, so we got to set a few things up. And what I'll do is I'll start out talking about the topic. So the title of the show is DC's Blue Beetle woke as fuck? And what we're talking about, of course, is the fact that the main character of the movie that they're about to release isn't Ted Kord, the original Blue Beetle. And they are opting to use, I forget what his first name is. What is it, Jake?
It's Jaime Reyes.
Jaime. Okay, right. So definitely a Latinx character.
No, you say it Latino.
I know.
You say
I did that on purpose because I know how it grates on people who don't like it. We are incendiary after all. So yeah, that's the topic. We are not necessarily going to keep it focused on Blue Beetle. That's just sort of our launch pad, if you will, because it's very topical. So we're going to start off asking our esteemed guest, Von, which side of the debate do you want to be on?
Oh no! I choose his character itself. Wait, no, this is about whether the movie's going to be woke AF.
Right.
Hell yeah, it's going to be woke. So yeah, I'll just argue it'll be woke, even though I don't have enough evidence other than just some comment about Batman being a fascist at the end of the trailer.
Do we go watch the trailer first? So
Yep.
I sure snuck a peek, but I'll just argue that it's going to be woke AF. Let's just go with the standard. And who would like to join me? Peter, you down?
Yeah, actually, I think that one's going to be pretty woke. I've been reading about the director and some of the actors and stuff and some old tweets.
There it is.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm
like
going to put Von up here. I'm going to swap Fanta and Peter. Okay, so Von, you have 3 other folks on the panel. 2 of them you need to select to be your opponents.
Yes. Bionic, he's feeling saucy, right?
Yeah, man.
Do you want to hang with us? You want to scream about the woke with us, or are you gonna?
You've already got an ally. You need to pick your opponents now, and then the remainder needs to be the mediator.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like okay. So let's do. Well, I mean, yeah. Dojo, you want to mediate?
Sure.
And then these other two can whip our asses. Let's do it.
All right. So this is how it's going to be.
Oh
Jake
boy.
and Fanta versus Vaughn and Peter. So we always, of course, let the guest go first. So I know you said you don't have a whole lot of evidence, but based on what you've seen so far and a little bit we talked about before we went live, tell us what you think, Vaughn.
These movies. Do you guys remember The Force Awakens? Now, some people were giving it a pass, and some people were like, It was like there's different shades of woke, correct? And some people, some people will describe a movie saying, "Oh, it had a few woke moments, but overall, good film, good film." Other people will see one woke thing and they're like, "I'm out. I don't do it. I can't do it anymore." They're at their max, right?
Right.
Blue Beetle is a movie, from what I'm gathering, could have those little woke moments while still being like an entertaining movie. But for some people, it's going to be woke AF, man. It's going to be like that one thing they say about Batman being a fascist, or that one thing about, how Latinos are oppressed, that oppression narrative messaging there, or about how men are just idiots, things like that. Any of that messaging you see in there, it might seem slight the way they portray it, but I assure you, by the time the movie is over, you will have like had about 50 woke messages thrown at your face before the credits hit, and maybe not even really know it. That's why I brought up Force Awakens. People were all confused. They're like, "I think it was an okay Star Wars movie," and I was like, "Dude, no." Even though it wasn't overtly woke, like let's say that animated series Velma, where its whole core and its jokes and its everything about it was woke, right? And it just went to hell. Movies that are being done by DC and Marvel lately, to me, they still count as woke, but there's the family moment. There's a mixed bag happening, and yet the messaging's all the same. You know what I mean? The messaging always goes back to oppressed person versus the oppressor, men versus women, gay versus straight, Latino versus white could maybe come up in this. Someone's calling a Batman a fascist, and it's not even really a joke. It was just some weird random thing at the end of the trailer. That was weird and like kind of out of nowhere. Makes me think that Uncle's going to be kind of exposing or expouting a lot of wokeness. So there's evidence there. We just don't have all of it yet. You know what I'm saying? So
agreed. So Jake, I'm going to ask you to refute that, but do I need to play the sounder?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So sometimes our guest asks us to debate a side that we disagree with. So we have this. So now, Jake, go ahead and tell us why it will not be woke as fuck.
Okay. I don't think it'll be woke as fuck just because this Blue Beetle character and possibly storyline, we don't get too much of what's going on with the storyline in the trailer, but this character, Jaime Reyes, taking up the mantle of Blue Beetle, has been around since 2006. So that's before all the BS of wokeism took place. But at the same time, I am that person that likes seeing the mantle being passed on as long as it's done correctly. And I think this one is done correctly, unlike Miles Morales, where he just comes in and is swapped out, even though he's been around since, 2009, I think?
9.
And, but the thing is that he is exactly the same as Peter Parker. He's smart, he's witty, he's got all the same powers, except for the cloaking mechanism that he got from Spider-Man 2099 and the Venom zap that he got from Spider-Woman. So you just gave him all the goodies in the bag for this one character to be OP. So, okay, that's woke. Now, Jaime Reyes, no, I think even though his suit looks like Ted Kord's, I think that's more of an homage for that Blue Beetle, because the Scarab was for Dan Garrett before Ted Kord. And even then, that was Egyptian mysticism with that Scarab. So this one being an alien tech, I think it's completely different, even though he found the Scarab at Kord Industries being, worked on and stuff. I think this is a fresh start for maybe a little bit of wokeness to come in with George Lopez shocking when he has Lowrider as his theme song. And but no, I don't think this one's going to be woke as fuck. No.
So, you mentioned the fact that Miles Morales is pretty much Peter Parker with dark skin. And I've seen some people, in fact, I've seen Ethan allude to the fact that Marvel may be doing that in order to not use Peter Parker nearly as much because of a lawsuit they're going through with the Ditko family right now.
Right.
So I think what they're doing is distancing themselves, or they were for a while anyway, distancing themselves from Peter Parker and putting in, I don't know, placebos, I guess.
So,
and when they do that, they're doing it for the ESG, in my opinion.
Guess who made Jaime Reyes? Steve Ditko.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if that refutes what I just said or supports it. I mean,
didn't they put the Miles Morales? Didn't they get him started? Like, I guess they foresaw that this lawsuit was a potential. They actually gave him some time to marinate, I guess you could say, before really hitting the gas on that character. Like, I know he was popular when he first came out, but then I didn't hear hardly anything about that Miles Morales until I think almost the Spider-Verse movie.
Right. Yeah. There was very little said in the comics or, online, et cetera. They did keep him sort of on the down low, but you're right. They may have been doing that, foreshadowing what might to come as far as litigation goes. But since you brought that up, Peter, why don't you go ahead and take the floor now and tell us why you agree with Vaughn that Blue Beetle by DC, the movie, will be woke as fuck.
Whether it is actually completely woke as fuck or not, the problem is they've been doing this stuff for so long that, and I've always kind of just given them, a little benefit of the doubt, whatever. Okay, who cares? It's this character. Okay, that character. But you know what? It's been a long time, a lot of characters. And it's getting kind of old, and it's now to the point where I'm getting to where I can't even stand watching it anymore. I just get a hint of it, and I just want to throw up. I'm done with this constant, like none of the characters that I used to read and watch are recognizable anymore. And I don't know why if they actually cared, why not create new characters and promote them instead of just using these built-in audience characters, just, we got a franchise, we got a built-in audience. Let's just race swap and we'll get our bonus points. And, we got it all taken care of. Because
those ESG dollars, I think, they're meant to be a boon to the industry, but they've really been a bane. And the reason I'm saying that is they don't care if the comic books lose money anymore. They just don't care. As so long as they're checking those ESG boxes, they're making more money from the government than they ever did from the fans. Mm-hmm. Therefore, go ahead.
When your system is based off winning over arbitrary points from some government, like good gold star for you and your company instead of the fans, you got it wrong. You messed up. You're backwards. You're inverted.
Absolutely got it wrong. Yep.
To be fair, first time I ever encountered, new Blue Beetle, Jaime, it was on Young Justice.
There we go.
You guys, and I got to tell you, he wasn't woke. He was cool. The story actually centered around a lot on Blue Beetle. I believe that was season 2, and how his weapon is kind of a super weapon that even the wearer doesn't fully understand. It looks like this could be explored in the movie, which is cool. So there's cool things to him, but will the Hollywood version take the bait, the ESG bait, and put that little bit of wokeness in that some people are like, I'm out, that's woke AF, and other people will go, okay, I could have a dose of like that bullshit here and there, but or people that just don't even notice, right? That's the question here.
What's like with this with Bud Light and everything, the boycotting of the Bud Light cans and all that stuff. Well, I think that's just, Disney's got 100,000 more atrocious things to boycott. People aren't boycotting. I think they're done with it. And now we get these Bud Light coming out. I think everyone's just about had it with this.
How much stock has Bud Light
put
lost?
A hint of it.
Last I heard it was around $6 billion.
Yeah,
$6 billion. Yeah.
$6 billion.
Yeah. Yep.
That's worse than Corona got hit with when Corona came around.
Yeah. No one was drinking that for a minute.
That was the beer bug.
So Fanta, The side of the argument that you've been asked to take is that it will not be woke. What do you think?
May I have the disclaimer, please?
Oh, you want the disclaimer as well?
Please.
The sounder sounds a lot like, you would hear when the clowns are climbing out of the Volkswagen. That's on purpose, because we're talking about clown world here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know much about the Blue Beetle. Not as much as you guys. At least it's not a woman.
It is
Fair
not.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be Young Justice season 4.
Well, I guess it depends on how woke they go.
Yeah, right. We'll find out at the end of the movie it's actually a trans.
Jesus.
Oh no.
A woman
But yeah,
masquerading
I was
as a
hoping
guy.
I'd be on that. I was hoping I'd be on the other side, but that's all I can say is at least it's not a woman, and maybe they won't go woke. Maybe not.
Well, I don't see him hitting it as hard as Captain Marvel did.
Mhm.
That was kind of brutally like in the face. Fuck man.
Yeah,
Watch
that was their
us.
feminist
Yeah.
parade party. Like,
Yeah.
we're
And-
like,
Yeah.
look at us. We have the most powerful character in Marvel. Eat it. That's what that whole movie was.
And then all the Disney Plus shows started being just the female versions of the Avengers, with Hawkeye's new protege Hawkeye, the dark-haired female teenage girl, and then Black Widow's sister coming in and taking over her spot. It's being at this point it's redundant. It's just
Played out.
Yeah.
Tired.
Now, if I could, and I know you guys are going to get sick to death of hearing about this character, but the She-Hulk series, 9 episodes.
No second season.
First,
Well, you're an avid fan, so I'm okay with you talking about it.
okay, well, thanks for that dispensation. But yeah, the fact that by the 4th or 5th episode, I was ready to bail, and that's saying a lot because I'm a huge fan, like you said. But I stuck to it. The last 2 episodes actually improved dramatically in my mind. But then Disney did something that I think surprised me quite a bit, and that is they admitted that they were trolling the fans. Now, part of me wants to say, well, why would you do that? Your fans are your breadbasket, your moneymaker and all that. But at the same time, they were doing it on purpose. They were being cringe on purpose. I went back and watched them with the idea that they were making fun or joking. With that in mind, I think they did a great job if that was their intent. Because like when Jennifer Walters says, I deal with anger infinitely more than you do, we all were like, what? Hulk has been, rage monster for 15 years, fighting the military, wants to be left alone. And if you think about it, that's what they wanted. They wanted the fans to react that way because sometimes any publicity is good publicity. Right? So
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I really think that, if that's truly the lens that we're to watch that in, I had a lot more fun watching it the second time is what I'm trying to say. So
new perspectives and all.
Yeah, the fact that they recognize how woke they were becoming, how cringe they were becoming. I wonder if somebody said, let's lean into it and have some fun with it.
Well, I'd say that if it was any other company than Disney, you might have a good point there. But to me, considering they didn't stop, they just doubled down and tripled down on it, and I would say that was more like them laughing at their audience than admitting any kind of mistakes.
I wish that it was a brilliant parody of them going, we realize we're overdoing it and we're going to make that a message in our show or whatever. But I've read too much on the creator, the showrunner of She-Hulk, and what she planned to do and how it was all this big secret where the whole plan was to get trolls talking about the show and saying nanny, nanny, boo, boo in your face pretty much almost every episode in some way. And then to reveal at the end, like, oh, we were just trolling you. Ha, ha, ha. We knew you were going to say that the show sucked. We planned on it. That wasn't the troll on us that I think they hoped that it was. And yes, I do think they were trying to troll us. The feminist perspective, which all of them have had since they marched into Marvel and DC, is us versus you. is we need to come into this pop culture swinging because you guys are a problem. We're oppressed. We have to. They believe they have to fight the boogeyman to get anything, get anywhere in life, right? So I do believe that was the woke ideology that drove this creator to go, we're going to make a show that trolls the fans, but then reveal like we were doing it on purpose. I don't think she was criticizing woke with She-Hulk. I think she was criticizing the fans' responses to how ridiculous woke is, and then trying to make us feel bad when in the end, I mean, they trolled themselves, I feel like, and they trolled She-Hulk fans who wanted a genuine show. Instead, it's all this big gag. Really?
Right.
Like, oh.
Well,
hard.
you know what? Part of that is also true to canon, and here's my take on that one. When John Byrne wrote She-Hulk as a part of the Fantastic Four, it was an incredible characterization. She was smart, a team player. They actually treated her like she was part of the family. It was fantastic. I thought that she slid right in there, replacing Ben in great style. But when Byrne wrote the sensational She-Hulk, any issue he wrote, she was the butt of a joke. It was always the very D, E, or F lister of villains that she faced. She faced, Razorback and Sprag the Living Hill and Man Elephant and just all of these, and a dwarf named Nicholas Saint. I don't know. It was so silly. It was like Santa Claus, but in dwarf form. And the whole thing to him, I think he was enamored with his own cleverness, and he made the whole thing a joke. Right. So unfortunately, by creating that in the sensational She-Hulk, anyone that took his place on the creative team tried to do that too, and unfortunately weren't as clever as Byrne. Right. But I didn't like it when Byrne did it. I liked it even less when somebody else tried to emulate Byrne. so
she broke the fourth wall and stuff. Like there was kind of a no rules feel to She-Hulk that made her fun. You wanted to see what would happen, you know.
This is true, and she broke the fourth wall far before Deadpool ever did.
Right. Exactly.
She and Animal Man both did at the same time. Animal Man's breaking the fourth wall, though, was much more serious and maudlin. Very serious,
more philosophical.
Yeah, almost, very pessimistic and woe is me kind of thing. And then, of course, Superman broke the fourth wall decades before that. At the end of every issue, he would turn to the audience, say something, and wink.
Yep. Hell yeah!
How did Deadpool get the crown for that fourth wall breaking thing? I remember hearing that a lot, back when he first started coming around. But yeah, that had happened way before Deadpool ever even existed.
Yeah, and I think it's just because we were gaslit to think, or the normies anyway, were gaslit to think that he was the first. That's like Jennifer Lawrence coming out and saying she's the first female action hero.
Yeah, it's like something my brother would have told me growing up. He's the first character to break. That had to have come out of a Wizard magazine or something. That, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a common thing that everybody knows, but I can't really pinpoint where that started.
That's a good point.
It's almost like She-Hulk, as far as I know, when Deadpool was at a peak popularity in issue form and people were pining for that movie, I mean, I don't even know if there was She-Hulk on the stands. Maybe there was. But she wasn't as popular. Deadpool, I remember, was so popular that even normies I would work with would be like, oh yeah, Deadpool. And they knew about the fourth wall thing. So in their minds, he's the only one.
Right.
They don't know.
I think you're right, though. Although She-Hulk was in probably either the Secret Defenders or Heroes for Hire or whatever, she did not have her own series when Deadpool was at his peak. So you're right. The normies wouldn't know. And a lot of normies didn't even know about She-Hulk. They just thought she was a new Hulk derivative. I mean, she is a Hulk derivative, but they thought that, she hadn't been around for the last 40 years. Yeah. Hey, Paul, good to have you in the chat. And, while I'm saying hi to Paul from AGE Comics, I'll say hi to Just Call Me Hen. She says he is a white male. Isn't that the opposite of woke? No, the character that will be the main character in Blue Beetle is Jaime Reyes. He is a Latino character, and he took the place of Ted Kord, who was Caucasian. So there's a little bit of wokeness there in just the fact that they're going to choose to portray the Blue Beetle as Jaime instead of Ted. But I think that Ted and his family might be in the movie. There was some talk of Charlize Theron being Victoria Kord, who was Ted's sister, and she would be the big bad in the movie if that's true.
Yeah, they showed Cord Industries in the trailers, so
Right.
he does have ties to it, right?
So Ted might be there in the sort of way that Michael Douglas played Hank Pym.
Right.
You know, so they did have one like flashback with Hank Pym as Ant-Man kicking a bunch of soldiers' butts and all that. It was just a flashback though. You know, and instead they went with the person to whom the torch was passed with
Scott Lang.
Scott. I knew it was Scott. I couldn't think of Lang. Thank you. I blanked on that. So yeah, they went with the second generation Ant-Man, if you will, and that's kind of what they're doing here with Blue Beetle. So yeah, right.
I wouldn't even call like picking that Blue Beetle. I would not even call that as the woke part of it.
Right.
It's going to be all the dialogue, all the, you know, it's going to end up being dialogue and horrible script writing. I bet that's going to end up making it woke.
They look like they turned him into a fuck up. Let's just be like, as for the plot, he's like, whoops, oh, I cut a bus in half, just like Doctor Strange did a minute ago. And you're like, what is going on with these buses getting cut in half by everybody? So the whole plot of he has to learn to use his powers and everything. Okay. Will that play out woke in some way? I don't know. It's hard to say from all the action and the craziness of the trailer. They didn't. I've seen, you know, when you saw the Ghostbusters 2016 trailer, you knew you were going to get slapped with a big woke dildo, right? And you're just like, no, I'm out. But it's hard to tell with this Blue Beetle trailer. It is. It's hard to tell. You almost get the feeling like they're probably purposely hiding it more these days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They get their money.
I'd say that back then it was like people were a little more receptive to it because it was kind of new. Not new, but it wasn't so obvious what they were doing. Like all girls, Ghostbusters. I mean, that was, I kind of think, is when it started really like going downhill, like fast after that.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the part about him having to learn his new powers. And you mentioned that this is alien tech and he's not familiar with them. He's got to learn how to use them. And oops, I broke that. And oh no, I didn't mean to do that. That seems to be a very recurrent trope lately. Ms. Marvel had her, you know, the bracelet, and all of a sudden she's got powers and doesn't know how to use them and has to train. Shazam, you know, oops, he's, you know, suddenly he's like Superman level, doesn't know how to do anything, and they make that a big joke. It's really overdone, in my opinion, all of these characters who get their powers. There's two tropes that really drive me crazy. The ones that are like a fish out of water who, you know, constantly making mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. And the other one is, I don't want these powers. I don't want to be a hero. You know what I mean? It's like, are you kidding me? If I suddenly became like Shazam, I would be a hero immediately. I would just be the biggest effing hero.
Dude, I would turn into a dictatorship. I really would.
How to make money.
Man, I'm reading Mark Miller's The Ambassadors, and the plot is this woman has the tech to turn you into a superhero, and she only wants to pick the most worthy on the planet. So she's like, how many applications did we get? And they're like, and she's like, 65,700,000, you know, and you're like, yeah, a lot of people want to be a hero. They want that stuff. They want it.
You know, when they started handing out superpowers, everybody's going to have one to compete, you know?
Yeah.
That's right.
But
and then if everyone is super, is anybody super?
But she's only giving, I think she's only giving one person from each country the powers. So it becomes like one chosen person from, you know.
So it's almost like a Green Lantern Corps, but instead of universal, it's just planetary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then,
am I still on the side of not woke? Or am I speaking freely?
Far. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. What have you got?
Dribble on past that now.
I was going to say, you know, yes, it's not a woman, but aren't they in a lot of like TV series or streaming series and stuff? The guy gets these powers or whatever, and it's like you said, oops, I didn't mean to do that. And then the woman that's in there teaches him how.
Oh, yeah.
Or somehow.
I've seen it.
That's like Janet Van Dyne,
like
the Wasp.
She-Hulk?
Well, like She-Hulk suddenly better than the Hulk after he's been Hulk for 15 years. She can suddenly do everything better than he can. Or Janet Van Dyne, where Scott Lang's trying to teach her how to fight, and
good call.
She punches him right in the face, and I don't know. It's like suddenly, or not suddenly, she's better, but right from the very beginning, she's better at everything than he ever was using the powers.
I'll argue this on that point. On that point, to me, She-Hulk was almost a young lady show, right? Because Miss Congeniality did that same thing where the woman can beat up the dude. So I think even though guys were like the comic book readers back in the day, She-Hulk was like their way of getting like the female audience to come in, and that's probably another reason why it was so woke and blatantly in guys' face all the time.
Well, one of the things, Jake, is that for the last, I'm going to say almost 2 decades, anytime a man is portrayed in a movie, in a television commercial, the white male is always the inept one.
Oh yeah, Home Improvement. Everybody loves Raymond.
Exactly. All the time, it's always the wife who holds the house together, never the man. Now, does the wife hold the house together? In many cases, sure, but it's as a partnership. That doesn't mean the man is always an inept boob who doesn't even like.
Right.
Well, there's a song by a country band. I can't think of who it is, but it's like Mr. Mom, where he doesn't know to put the crayons in the drawers too high for the kids to grab, and you can't wash Pampers in the washing. It's like, come on,
right?
Guys are not that stupid.
There's a way they can do it right, even if they are. You got Home Improvement. He's a boob. He's always making mistakes, but he's still like the man of the house. He's still teaching his kids.
Right.
He's not a complete fuck up. I love that show.
No, I do too. I mean, I have it. I have it on DVD. Yeah, I have the whole series. But I mean, that was one of my favorite shows growing up. But
yeah, same here.
I think
I got digital.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I've got it all on digital as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. Voodoo.
Yeah,
same. But it's kind of a flip to where it was in the past, where women could kind of be the buffoons with I Love Lucy and those kind of shows, like Sabrina. I mean, not Sabrina, but we can go with Sabrina the Teenage Witch. But I was thinking of Sabrina from Samantha from Bewitched.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, so it kind of changed with the times. Like they got tired of seeing the women do it, so they let the men become the buffoon for a little bit. But now it's just beyond that. Now it's beyond having fun with each other to just kind of like
ugly.
digging and ripping into each other now.
From laughter to hatred.
Yeah, it's more polarized.
Samantha wasn't really the buffoon. She had to fix everything and sort of glaze things over for Darren. So I don't think
the mother-in-law kept on getting in the way. It's the fucking mother-in-law every time.
Ooh, I think you touched a nerve there.
Has anyone here seen the Sandman series?
No,
I have not. No.
Oh, that's actually an argument to be made that it has lots of woke elements, but it's a fairly decent show. However, they just couldn't help themselves. That series the season 1 is clearly split into 2 segments, 2 parts. And the first part, they just sprinkled the shit in there. But then they did this hard stop with the story arc. And then the second half of the story just went full-blown rainbow, crazy. And then it even ties to the beginning of the story very slightly. And then just gets woke as fuck. And I had to watch the whole thing because I liked the first half of it. But even with all the nonsense in it, I thought it was actually still pretty well done. But then it got to the second half, and I was like, done. I'm not going to watch any more seasons if they bother. It's just disappointment.
So you kind of suffered through the first season, but you're not going to do that again.
No, and I've already canceled my Disney subscription over a year, which I don't know if anyone's canceled, but I keep getting letters from them. And I actually got resubscribed on their they resubscribed me somehow.
Like I did a discount.
Some cash. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the money.
Lay off 7,000 more people. Oh, we could use some cash. Oh. Yeah, man, they're nuts. They're insane, man. Oh god, they are so woke. And did you hear Bob Iger getting lectured by the shareholders on the wokeness? Oh my god, it was beautiful.
No.
It was a masterclass.
Oh wow, that's actually surprising. I thought
there were guys live streaming it and going, "Oh my god," and reacting. And there were guys who had prepared letters, so they made sure they got their full 2 minutes in, right? And they just leveled him. It was incredible. They defined woke. They explained what it is in the shows. They explained that there's no entertainment for them anymore. Like, where's the entertainment? I mean, they just level. It was great. Look for that.
I definitely have to look for that. That would be entertaining. You bet.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
It's so weird how woke ideology is the most intolerant ideology I've ever come across, ever. And yet it's claiming to usher in this age of tolerance and inclusion for everyone. You know what I mean? It hates everything that's not itself. It's like a religion without any spirituality. It's it has very core messaging in our pop culture if you know what to look for. It's amazing how much before you're red pilled or before you start to learn to spot it, how you realize when you can watch old things or reflect on things you watched, not more recent things, obviously, because woke has become something that's more gradual and now grown into this swelling kind of infection. But it's amazing how much you'll see messaging wise when you go back. They have their own tropes. You could break woke entertainment down into its own genre, right? Of messaging and ideas and tropes that they always go back to. Women are always way too good at things. They're always better than guys at things. They're, guys are kind of buffoons. Everyone, almost everyone, pretty much gay. Like, yeah, it's nonstop, right? So it's pretty interesting how it's become its own. It's becoming its own genre, but because it's so new and we haven't really dug into it yet intellectually and been able to like analyze it all. We're still figuring it out in a lot of ways, When I saw, Force Awakens, and I saw that scene where Finn's trying to hold her hand as they run away from getting fired on by TIE fighters, and she's like, "I don't need you to hold my hand," and throws it away. Like that was pointless, but that was a woke idea that like, stop trying to help girls. We don't need your help. And that for feminists, that was like a yay moment, but for audiences, it was just like, what the hell was that? What is that? It's so weird. So yeah, it's something that's weird and hard for us to comprehend. Me, I'm an artist. I've been analyzing and critiquing art since high school. I'm really into film. I'm really into pop culture. So I notice. I'm sensitive. And in my own work, I like to be understanding of art so I can make my own work good. So it's like this, something that I've been watching happen for years and arguing with people like, it's there, I swear it's there. And they're like, no way. But now I think even my mom is like, that's some woke bullshit. You know what I mean?
It also is like it kind of counteracts some of their points because it's not always just, something gay's in there. Then all of a sudden it's woke. Stardust was a great movie and it had the whole Robert De Niro scene, the air pirate, the sky pirates. And he was, I don't know if he was gay, but he was dancing around in girls' clothing and stuff. And everybody, his crew that was actually kind of almost touching because you're like, oh, they love that guy. That's cool. That wasn't really, I wouldn't call that woke. Maybe sprinkled in there, but
you can't just
it wasn't
say,
bad.
Like, identity equals woke. It's the story elements. Is the character a real character, or are they there to just be a representation politically? That's why when people talk about diversity, it gets tricky because like diversity is like most Americans hear it and they go, that's America. That's good. Everybody gets a shot. Everyone can hang. But for woke, it's like, no, but not America didn't let anybody hang and it's up to us. So we call it forced diversity. I try to call it politicized diversity to remind people this is being put in for non-story reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, I equate it
non-story reasons. I agree with that.
I equate it to the idea of if every TV show now has to have a Power Ranger roster or a Captain Planet roster, then you've already lost me. I do not need Asian friend. I don't need a black friend. I don't need a Muslim friend. I don't need a Jewish friend. I don't need them all in the same fucking show every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even more so than that, like specifically especially Power Rangers, like in Boba Fett. We don't need Power Rangers need to stay in Power Rangers, not in Boba Fett.
I'm just saying, man. But like, you know, yeah, if you go back to the 90s and shit, there was still diversity. You see it on kids shows. Why do you need to make it a point of contingency now? I mean, it's ridiculous.
You know, talking about kid shows and diversity, you can go all the way back to when even I was a kid, and that's a few decades back, when Sesame Street had Black characters, Latino characters. Yeah, everybody. There was representation, and it wasn't shoved down your throat. They just happened to be Black. And hey, Gordon's cool. You know what I mean? Let's go listen to Gordon tell a story. So the fact that they were there, it wasn't shocking. It wasn't shoved down your throat. They just happened to be in the neighborhood, which was awesome because it was a cross representation of America. That is fine. To have these characters in these books, in these movies, in these TV series is awesome because that's people. That's what we're, you know, that's all around us. But to then make it a Power Ranger roster, it becomes forced, and then it doesn't make, it's not even, it's disingenuous at that point.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Has there been any like progress made in the I don't know, like government or anything concerning race, or has it only gotten worse? Because I feel like growing up, you know, this was never an issue. Maybe I just lived in some whatever crazy middle class world, but
are you Generation X?
It's way worse.
I
was born in '84.
Okay, so you're just after Gen X. You're close to it. I'm Gen X. We had that shit solved. I grew up with Black entertainers and Black sports heroes and Black musician heroes, and it was the shit. Like nobody questioned it. Nobody talked about, well, he's Black and blah, blah. It wasn't a thing. But nowadays, it's like some people say, the left put racism on life support to start restructuring, giving themselves power, giving themselves to discriminate. I mean, they've ushered in a new age of discrimination into our country. To me, they're selling us on two different Americas. Okay. Yeah. One is the oppression America, and one is the one I grew up with, where like we were all cool with each other, and I could watch the Cosby Show, I could watch Black-led entertainment, Different Strokes, Webster. Like
Lethal Weapon.
Family
Man. Lethal Weapon was a perfect representation of what I remember life was like.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't about political tribal representation; it was about American representation. You know what I mean? There's a difference. America, baby.
Yep. Now, just a little while ago, Vaughn, you mentioned your work, and we're at the quarter to the hour. So what I want to do is pivot here. I know this is a great conversation. I almost hate to step in and be the bad guy here, but what I want to do is be the good guy and let everyone see one of the things that Vaughn's now working on, and that's his new project, Psycho Killers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present. Let's see here, share screen. Pick that. And then after I share it, I got to come back here.
Psycho Killers. I love that all the titles of my stuff are so evil, so dark. I dig it.
You know, some people would say you need to see somebody.
I know, but those I went and saw somebody, and like they just want to be doing pills and tell you to eat right and sleep. I know these things. I don't need to be on pills. I'm fine. But God, that didn't sound like a so with that, we go to the real psychos who aren't me, the Psycho Killers. This is the story, guys, of a group of psychic assassins who are on their last mission to kill each other. They grew up honing their different horrifically powerful psychic abilities that they learned to use to kill and get away with it clean. And who do they kill? They were raised by a man who was the first psychic agent of all time. He worked for the government. He did horrible things for them, and now he's ready to kind of do things his way, take revenge. He steals these psychic kids from government testing facilities. He trains them to be killers of the elites. The people that he thinks are really making the world more difficult for the common man. And he sends them out. Once they're grown up, he sends them out. But in this story, we find out that they're being put on their last mission and they have to take each other out. This is going to be an ashcan, black and white with art by Paul Gorey, who's a fantastic kind of manga-ish style artist, but real funky, real cool, real stylish style. and the story of Necrotox 99, the sniper assassin who can use astral projection to make clone or decoys of himself to trick you while he snipes you from afar and shoots mind bullets out of his gun to make your mind explode. So it's pretty badass. It's James Bond, Golgo 13. It's everything cool and stylish about like spy thriller action movies, but with that like awesome mind-bending psychic edge that's going to make it really cool.
Definitely sounds cool. Now I see that you've got a trailer video here,
yes,
and then a teaser video here.
Yeah.
So which would be better, or do you want us to play both?
Please play both. Start with the main trailer, guys. Let's. I made both of these, so I mean, yeah.
Okay, we'll start with this one then. Uh-oh. Wait. Wait, what?
All right.
Limited to 500
I
copies.
love that trailer.
What the hell?
So, guys, I'm not lying. So we only have 500 copies of this first ash can. It's just it's our 24, I think, page story, and we have over 500 signups already. So please keep your eyes open to make this a day one. Hopefully,
we're gonna sell out on day one, Vaughn.
I don't know. We'll hope. We're hoping. I mean, the
I'm
hype is there.
I'm hoping I'm fast enough to get one of those 500. That's what
Me
I'm saying.
too.
I might be flying into LA to sign them too. I know I'm going to sign them somehow, but I might be flying into LA to sign them, which would be awesome. Get to hang with Adam Lawson. He's the one who hired me and bought this, and we've been working on this from Gifted Rebels. So shout out to them, of course. Adam's amazing artist and creator himself. Puts out great books, Kids and Monsters. What else has he done? The Kill Journal. I mean, just cool stuff. And of course, The Exiled with Wesley Snipes, which just actually made a pretty big dent in comic book sales for shops recently. So he's making things happen, and I'm honored to work with him.
When he comes on a show, I feel like we're among royalty at that point because, I mean, TV and movie producer, he creates games like board games and RPGs, and these comic book things is just another side gig for him. I mean, but
he loves it like more than anything, right?
It's like a kid in a candy store. He loves doing all this stuff. You can tell how excited he is about it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and he's so far working with him, it's just been a bliss. So, yeah. And this was just a little teaser I made.
Okay. Let's see what this one's like.
A little short. So that was just, who are these crazy characters? This is the largest cast I've ever written. And to be honest, it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Biotic, or was it you, Biotic, I think, or Peter? You were saying that the United Nations cast you're kind of sick of, Well, the Psycho Killers cast is from all over the world. I just thought that idea. You're totally chill. But I just thought that idea would be fun to think about different psychics from different countries and with different, that the idea that they were kind of spread out with these special abilities, and of course it'll make the characters all interesting and a little different from each other in a cool ways. So it's the first time I've ever written anything like this. Yeah, it's huge. I love it though. It's like I can already hear them. You know what I mean? It's not hard to understand these characters. They're all named after different real life toxins. So you got like necrotox, myotox, cytotox, cyanotox, phototox. And I tried to make their names kind of reflect who the character is. Phototox, for instance, the blonde kind of hottie, she's a supermodel, so photos, but also her powers, she psychically bends light, which is, you know, usually the word photo involves photosynthesis or whatever involves light. So it's Phototox worked, you know what I mean? Necrotox wears all black, he's a messenger of death, so Necro, obvious, death. Things like that. So it's been really, and for instance, these two people on the left, you see these twins in the silver suits with the baseball bats.
Yeah.
That's Endotox and Exotox. One of them is, they're Siamese psychic twins that can teleport, and Endotox goes inside of Exotox and kind of hangs out, like lives there for a little while until she wants to come out again. And then Exotox, of course, is Exo, so he's on the outside. Things like that. Like their names have meaning. And she's Indo, she's inside. So it's this thing where it's like the characters they came alive for me. I didn't have to do that much thinking. I studied up on my psychic powers and gave them all, you know, different cool abilities they specialize in to like kill people and get away with it. And every story in this is going to be Necrotox taking on one of the people he grew up with. And so it's more personal, it's more brutal, it's scary. He's kind of running a lot of the time while they come to kill him. So it's action packed, but at the same time, there's this really cool human conflict element where it's like, dude, you're killing, you know, someone that you used to have a crush on as a kid while you're growing up in this crazy facility with these other psychics. It's, you know, I don't know. There's nothing else like it that I know of. So I hope people dig it.
When is this planning on launching?
We want to launch in May. So we don't have a hard May date, but I'm going to start shipping out Terror in the Trenches at May 5th. So sometime after May 5th, we will announce it, of course. So just keep your eyes and ears on my Twitter.
Terror in the Trenches.
I just signed up.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to looking at this one. This looks cool.
Terror in the Trenches. You are, with that one, you grabbed a public domain character and gave it your own spin. So what I'm here to say to you, Vaughn, is give me my book.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, you guys, oh God, I hope you love it. I worked so hard on it, and Black Terror is such a great character. And the way I didn't even feel like I did my spin as much as I was more true to who he really should be, if that makes sense. Because it seemed like when I saw what was on the shelves for Black Terror, they're confused. He's a pirate, but he's not, but he's what? And he's, you know, they made fun of him for being a pharmacist. I instead like embraced that and said, sure, he's a pharmacist, but he also makes this bizarre terror gas that he uses for his powers. So he's a mad scientist, you know, things like that. But he needed to also be a trench warrior, right? Trench knives, trench coat instead of the classic cape that we're used to. Things like that, black leather, badassery, looked like a biker thug, right? A trench warrior who's seen some shit and like lived to tell the tale. So that's what I turned him into. I feel like it was more natural, and I realized that I wrote it for the joy of it and the love of doing just a good old fashioned revenge, like vengeance style Dark Avenger character. That's what got me into comic book shops as a kid. Punisher, Wolverine, the original Ninja Turtles,
Wolverine,
violence, man, and brutality, but like, you know, warrior poets and stories where people with the dark side overcome it, you know, in certain ways, you know. So Black Terror's definitely done some damage and it's coming back on him in a big way in Terror in the Trenches. So if people want to grab that before we ship, we're still in demand.
Oh, good to hear.
Oh, that's cool. I was just about to ask if there's a way to pick that up.
Still going. I just got these terror gas vials in that are totally hand painted and badass. If you guys want me to grab one, show you.
Was that the comic that had the vial that got the page banned or shadow banned? I
am currently shadow banned with Terror in the Trenches on Indiegogo. You can't find it in a search. I did have to remove, or I had to edit an image because it was beheading a guy, and Indiegogo didn't like that, which I get. You know, I
remember there was talk about like some vial that could have been used for drugs or something, or was that a different comic?
Oh no, that's my comic. That's my.
Yeah. I remember that.
Terror gas vials are on his belt, and he inhales the gas like a battle popper to heal himself or to get, you know, re-up on his powers and stuff. So it's really cool. It's creepy, and he makes it himself. And it's the fact that it's called that, and I'm letting people buy it. It's like, okay, it would look kind of weird on a receipt. You know, you bought the TerraGas file. Okay,
that would be hard to explain to the kids.
You're on a government list now.
Get out of here, damn it!
I was just picturing a couple guys in shades at the door. Can we talk to your son, please? Or
it's a comic book.
Yeah,
right.
Sure, officer. You know, and I open the vial. It's just green M&Ms. You know, that's all it is inside. Like, it's a prop, sir. It's a prop.
That's right. It's collectible.
It's these. I could go grab one if you want to see what they look like. I've got the finished versions. All right, I'll be right back. But man, it's awesome.
So yeah, what I wanted to say while he's going to do that, I'm sure he'll still be able to hear me, and that is that the first book I got from Von was Monster MD, and it was, you know, it's got a horror touch to it, but there's also quite a bit of comedy, and typically that genre mix is not my cup of tea. But Monster MD is one of the best written comics that I've backed in the indie industry. So based on the fact that I loved Monster MD as much as I did, I didn't hesitate a moment to back Terror in the Trenches. And this Psycho Killers, which he's here to show tonight, seems to be like just the ideas that Von has. He probably can't put them to paper fast enough the way he comes up with all these things. So definitely, for any of you who are watching live or going to watch this on the replay, quick, go ahead and grab Terror in the Trenches. Like he said, it's still in demand. Grab yourself one of these vials he's about to show us, and then sign up for Psycho Killers. Now, he pointed out he's already got more than 500 signups for this 500 limited edition, 500 issues or copies of this book. So I don't know. I guess you got to figure out where his launch is going to be and be ready to pull that trigger.
Insane.
Because a lot of people are trying to be number one or within the first 10, but damn, I'm worried about being within the first 500 or missing out on even getting a copy. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That looks cool.
It's so much better. I wish I could find my stand. I have a black stand that this comes with. It's fantastic. And here's the thing about this. People are going to ask you what the hell this is if they see it on your shelf, man. They're going to want to know. It's
a bullet.
Yeah. This has your name on it. This is a TerraGas vial. It's got a little measurement, 200. I think it's 200 milliliters of TerraGas. It's got the little toxic label on top.
Oh my gosh! Very detailed.
These are all hand painted by Dead Sun Prime. Did these? He helped me. Like, I designed it, but he did the 3D modeling. He did the printing. He did the painting.
That's awesome.
He glued the lids on these so you guys can't put any gas in there. Unless you really want to drill a hole. Someone said they were going to drill a hole and use it as smoke, which I'm totally okay with. I mean, 420's tomorrow. Let's go, guys.
Whatever.
This is
awesome.
I just think I've never made a prop before. It's my first one. You could still get some of these. We're limited to 100, but I think we've got 49 left or something, some number like that. We got an okay amount left. So grab them. You guys are gonna love this. People are gonna ask what this is.
So how long do you plan to stay in demand with Terror in the Trenches?
Well, I want to do what I did with Monster MD, and as I'm shipping, still stay in demand for people to grab those last minute copies. That really helped Monster MD break that 100K thing. I don't know if we will with Terror in the Trenches, but that'd be cool. So yeah, I want to do that for a minute, because then when that goes down, I'm going to open up the website, which is Rise Again Comics, and sell directly Monster MDs and Terror in the Trenches 1. And so people can pick that up after. Right now, the website, it just says coming soon. So we're going to open the online store. So maybe, pretty much around the time we're finishing up shipping out everything, I'll do a closeout.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the closeout streams, I think, are waning as far as hype and all that. At the same time, though, there are people who've probably heard a lot about this and want to get in on it. So yeah, we'll be watching for a closeout stream wherever you choose to
Awesome.
do that.
Thank you so much. Everybody's so amazing in this community, and the fans have been amazing, and you guys keep me going, keep me wanting to tell you crazy stories. So I appreciate it, man. And the Psycho Killer support, it's been phenomenal.
Well, we appreciate creators like you who take the customers, the backers into account. I know you said you're writing these things for your own passion because of your love of it, but at the same time, it's symbiotic because as a customer, I care to see that kind of passion. With the kind of passion that you exude makes me excited about getting the book. So it's definitely, it feeds on itself. You know what I mean? The more passionate you are, the more support you receive, the more passionate you are. So that kind of thing is a great spiral and a good problem to have. So so now that we're at the top of the hour, we got to wrap up. So I want to say, first of all, sign up for Psycho Killers, get in on backing Terror in the Trenches. Vaughn, thanks so much for being a part of the show today. We had a great time debating with you. Awesome. I want to thank the rest of the panel, Jake, Peter, Fanta. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your input. And of course, everybody who watched live. And you know what? We get about around 50 to 60 people who watch it on the replay. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of Incendiary.
Incendiary.